The most brutal war isn't on some battlefield, it's happening inside your own mind. Quiet, constant, relentless. And the hardest part, no one else can see it. You look fine. You go to work, you smile, you keep functioning. But inside it's chaos. Doubt claws at your confidence. Shame whispers lies. Fear paralyzes you. Guilt weighs you down. Your thoughts spiral and no one notices, not because they don't care, but because you've become a master at hiding it. This is the invisible war, the kind that doesn't leave bruises, but breaks you slowly. You question everything, your worth, your past, your future, your choices. You overthink every word you say, every silence you keep. You replay your mistakes like they're on loop. You go to bed tired of the fight and wake up already defeated. And through it all, you keep telling yourself, I should be stronger. But let me be clear, this doesn't make you weak. It makes you human. The fact that you're still here, still trying, still showing up while carrying all of that inside, that's not weakness. That's resilience in its rawest form. You're not alone in this battle, even if it feels like you are. Millions are silently fighting beside you, behind their own smiles, their own masks, their own carefully built routines. Still, knowing that doesn't make the war easier, which is why you need something more than just survival. You need tools. You need awareness. You need to understand how to fight back, not by suppressing the war, but by learning to navigate it. The mind can be your battlefield, or it can become your weapon. That shift, that's where the real strength lies. And it starts now. Your mind is wired for conflict. Your brain was built for survival, not for happiness. Its main job is to keep you alive, not to keep you content or calm. That's why it constantly scans for danger, real or imagined. It runs worst-case scenarios in the background of your thoughts, keeping you alert, cautious, and filled with doubt. This wiring served a clear purpose in the past. But in today's world, where threats are often psychological instead of physical, it turns into a storm of anxiety, hesitation, and inner chaos. This system is old. It evolved when danger meant predators, famine, or physical harm. Your mind learned to detect anything unfamiliar or risky and respond with fear or avoidance. But now, instead of reacting to lions or starvation, it overreacts to emails, social situations, difficult conversations, or personal goals. It convinces you to play small, delay action, and doubt your every move. The conflict becomes internal. You are fighting yourself. Every day you are pulled between two versions of you. One is the person you really are, with your feelings, instincts, and desires. The other is the person you think you should be, shaped by social pressure, expectations, and fear of judgment. You wear masks, you filter your words, you tone yourself down. You live in tension between authenticity and acceptability, and that mental friction drains your energy, even when no one else can see it. There's also the war between what you feel and what you're told to feel. You might feel sadness, anger, frustration, or fear, but you're expected to smile, be grateful, and stay positive. The pressure to hide your real emotions creates distance between you and your own inner truth. Over time, you start questioning your own feelings. You tell yourself you're overreacting or weak. This disconnect is not healing. It's self-abandonment, and it only deepens the conflict. Then comes the tug-of-war between craving peace and fearing change. You want calm, clarity, and relief from the chaos in your mind. But getting there often requires stepping into discomfort, setting boundaries, facing truths you've avoided, or walking away from what no longer serves you. And your brain hates that. It equates change with danger, even if the current situation is already painful. So you stay stuck, afraid to move forward, but unable to stay where you are. This is the real battle, your mind turning against itself in an effort to protect you. It is not a character flaw. It is ancient survival code running in a modern world that no longer fits its logic. The good news is, once you understand this wiring, you can start to unlearn the fear-based habits it created. You don't need to destroy the system. You need to take the wheel and stop letting those outdated alarms drive your life. Negative self-talk is psychological warfare. Negative self-talk is one of the most destructive forces you face, and it comes from within. Phrases like, "I'm not good enough," "I always screw things up," or "What's the point?" may seem like casual thoughts, but they carry weight. They aren't harmless. These are not reflections of truth, but weapons your mind turns against you. You repeat them so often, they begin to sound like facts rather than the self-sabotaging scripts they are. This is not harmless reflection or productive self-evaluation. It is psychological warfare. Each time you speak to yourself in this way, you're reinforcing beliefs that shrink your confidence and silence your inner voice. You're not just thinking negatively. You're actively tearing down your ability to act, believe, and grow, and it becomes a loop. The more you criticize yourself, the less energy and clarity you have to break the cycle. The irony is that most people believe this inner harshness will somehow motivate them, as if beating yourself down will eventually lead to improvement. It doesn't. It leads to paralysis. It feeds shame, and shame is not fuel. Shame is a cage. Instead of helping you move forward, it convinces you to stay small, stay silent, and stay stuck. If someone you cared about came to you feeling broken or afraid, would you say what you say to yourself? Would you tell them they are a failure, that they always mess up, that they should just give up? Of course not. You'd offer compassion, clarity, and encouragement. So the question is, why do you treat yourself as if you are the enemy? Part of the problem is that this inner voice has been around for so long, it feels familiar. It might even sound like a parent, a teacher, or some authority figure from your past. But just because it feels familiar doesn't mean it's right. You are not obligated to keep believing every thought your mind throws at you. You can question it. You can challenge it. You can choose a different voice. Changing how you speak to yourself is not about being fake or overly positive. It is about being honest and fair. It is about learning to support yourself instead of sabotage yourself. Negative self-talk will never lead you to growth. It only reinforces the belief that you're unworthy of it. The real breakthrough comes when you stop being your own bully and start becoming your own advocate. Stop feeding the inner enemy, the voice in your head, the one that tells you you're not enough, that you're going to fail, that you're wasting your time, is not some unstoppable force, but it grows louder and more convincing the more you feed it. You feed it by believing it without question. You feed it by engaging with it like it's telling the truth. You even feed it by trying to avoid or suppress it, because silence is where it thrives. The inner critic is like a parasite. It needs your attention to survive. The more mental energy you give it, the more space it takes up. If you don't learn how to interrupt its cycle, it will become the dominant voice in your mind, not because it's right, but because it's familiar and loud. The first move is to step back and observe. Don't merge with your thoughts. Don't assume that just because you're thinking something, it must be true. You are not your thoughts. You are the one hearing them. That distinction is everything. When you observe your mind instead of identifying with it, you create space. You start to realize that not every idea that pops into your head deserves your belief or your energy. Observation gives you leverage. Instead of getting pulled into the spiral, you gain clarity. You become the witness, not the prisoner. That's when the power begins to shift. Once you've created that distance, you need to disrupt the loop. The mind loves patterns. It will replay the same script over and over if you don't interrupt it. When the self-critical voice starts up, speak out loud. Say something simple but firm like, "That's not true," or "That's just a thought, not a fact." It may feel weird at first, but it's effective. Saying it out loud disrupts the internal monologue and brings it into conscious awareness. It's like breaking a trance. The thought loses momentum. You remind yourself literally that you're not obligated to agree with every voice in your head. Another powerful tool is writing. When you feel overwhelmed by negative self-talk, put it on paper. Get it out of your head and into the physical world. Write the exact thought. I'm a failure. No one cares. I always screw things up. Then challenge it. Where did that come from? Who told you that? What evidence supports it? And what evidence disproves it? Writing slows the mind down. It takes emotion out of abstraction and turns it into something you can confront. Most of the time, you'll realize that these thoughts are echoes from the past, voices that aren't even yours. Once they're exposed, they lose their grip. Silence is the critic's best weapon. As long as the voice stays hidden, it has power over you. But when you name it, write it, speak it, or share it with someone safe, you weaken it. The shame that usually wraps around these thoughts starts to dissolve in the light of honesty. You realize you're not crazy, not broken, just stuck in a loop that millions of others experience too. And that awareness is not weakness, it's liberation. Shame cannot survive truth. And the truth is, you're not the voice. You're the one strong enough to confront it. This process is not about pretending everything is fine. It's not about reciting fake affirmations or forcing yourself to be positive. It's about reclaiming your authority. You don't have to argue with every negative thought, but you also don't have to bow to it. You can hear it, name it, and choose not to obey. This is what reclaiming your mental space looks like. It's small steps that over time break the old habit of self-destruction. The inner enemy will still speak, but the difference is you no longer listen without question. You no longer accept its words as your truth. Every time you observe without reacting, interrupt without spiraling, and express without shame, you strip away its influence. You start to rebuild a relationship with yourself that is based on clarity, strength, and self-respect. That's not weakness, that's psychological resilience. And it's how you start winning the battle that no one else sees. Build mental armor through repetition. You don't win the war inside your mind with one breakthrough moment. You win it through training. Just like physical strength is built with consistent effort, mental strength is forged through daily, disciplined repetition. This isn't about motivation or willpower. It's about commitment. You show up for yourself every day, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. You train your mind the same way a soldier trains for battle. Not because it's easy, but because your life depends on it. One of the first steps is learning to affirm what's real, not what's loud. Your mind will always have noise. Fear, doubt, and negativity often scream louder than truth. But volume doesn't equal accuracy. Just because a thought is persistent doesn't make it valid. You need to counter the noise with calm, steady truth. That means reminding yourself every single day of what you do know, what is working, and who you really are. Not in some fake, over-positive way, but grounded in evidence and clarity. Boundaries aren't just for other people. You need boundaries with your own mind. That means not giving every thought unlimited access to your attention. If a thought is destructive, obsessive, or dishonest, you don't owe it your energy. Imagine it like an uninvited guest. You can notice it without letting it move in. This is mental discipline. The ability to say, I hear you, but you don't get to lead today. Next, build daily systems that ground you. These routines are not just self-care, they're mental armor. Movement clears the fog. Breathwork resets the nervous system. Journaling helps you process and gain clarity. Therapy helps you untangle deeper patterns. These tools don't erase the war, but they give you weapons to fight it. When used consistently, they rewire the way your brain handles stress, doubt, and pressure. Understand this clearly. You cannot control every thought that enters your mind. That's not the goal. The goal is to choose which thoughts you believe and which ones you reinforce. If a thought fuels fear, paralysis, or self-hate, you stop feeding it. If a thought supports growth, clarity, or courage, you reinforce it through repetition. Every choice becomes a brick in the mental foundation you're building. This is how you build real mental armor. Not by eliminating the noise, but by refusing to be ruled by it. Not by being perfect, but by being relentless. discipline over drama, truth over fear. Every single day you practice, you get stronger. Not overnight, but over time. And that consistency? That's how you win the war. Survival is strength. If you're fighting a war inside your head every single day and still managing to show up, that is not weakness by any measure. It's a form of strength that many people will never truly understand because it happens out of sight. This inner battle is exhausting, relentless, and often invisible to the world around you. Yet, despite the constant noise, doubt, and fear, you persist. You continue to face each day, fulfill your responsibilities, and carry yourself forward. That alone reveals a resilience and grit that runs far deeper than surface appearances. This survival is not accidental. It's a testament to your inner toughness and endurance, even when you feel fragile. But surviving this ongoing conflict is not the end goal. It's only the beginning. You deserve to live beyond mere survival. You deserve a life free from the exhausting internal warfare that drains your energy and clouds your joy. The constant tension between hope and despair, confidence and doubt, should not be your daily norm. You have the right to cultivate peace, clarity, and self-trust. The path there isn't a single leap, but a steady process of rebuilding your mental and emotional landscape. You can shift your relationship with your mind by changing one thought, adopting one habit, and making one deliberate choice at a time. This rebuilding won't happen overnight, and it won't be perfect. There will be setbacks and challenges because rewiring your brain takes patience and persistence, but it is possible. What matters most is that you begin to see yourself as the active agent in this process. You are not powerless against your mind's storm. You are the commander of your mental battlefield, capable of steering your thoughts and emotions toward growth and healing. Every small step you take to reclaim your power chips away at the old patterns that no longer serve you. The war you face inside is very real. It can feel overwhelming, isolating, and relentless. But here is the undeniable truth. So is your capacity to win it. Your strength is not just in surviving, but in recognizing your power to change the narrative within your mind. You can learn to listen differently, to respond with compassion rather than judgment, and to choose beliefs that build rather than break. This is not about denying hardship or pretending the struggle doesn't exist. It's about rising through it, day by day, thought by thought. Remember, the mind's battles may never fully disappear, but they can lose their grip over you. With consistent effort and self-awareness, you will gain the tools to calm the storm, to build your resilience, and to reclaim your peace. Survival is powerful, but thriving is your birthright. This is your journey. You have the strength to not only endure the war, but to emerge from it stronger, wiser, and more whole than ever before.